It's another K-Town beat.
YouTube, it's your boy, Mr. Outline, and I'm back, and I got I'm talking about a tricky one today, man. Look at this. They pushed the boy back about a block. They pushed that boy back about a block, man. I don't know what, sometimes barbers be wanting to get the crispy lineups, man. All you gotta do is buy Mr. Outliner Detailer Li. If you wanna make crispy lineups, you ain't gotta push him back a block, man. You know what I'm saying? We trying to buy back the block, and he pushing them back a block. You feel me? But anyway, so, man, this is a difficult haircut because of the texture of the hair, right? Look at this. It's kind of like, man, it was hard for me to really just, my approach to it. I had to figure out how I was going to attack the haircut, right? So the first thing I decided to do was take my two guard open because I felt like, hey, it was a lot of hangover. It was just a lot of bulk. And he getting a bald fade. But I wanted to be able to see the scalp a little bit. And plus, this is an easy way for me to see how his hair will respond to certain lengths. So I used the two guard all the way around the head. Okay, after that, what we want to do is we want to come and make our first guideline. I'm using my clippers, my adjustable clippers to make my first guideline because I didn't want to make a heavy guideline with my trimmers with this hair because sometimes it can get tricky on removing the guideline when you have this texture of hair. So I went the safe route and I used my clipper to do it, right? So after that, I'll come back with my trimmer and clean up the bottom. So after that, we want to take our two guard and we want to begin to get the hair under control to where we like it, right? So I figured the two guard would be the best guard to go with to still keep it thick in order to not compromise it, right? Because we don't want it to start looking patchy. So we take our two guard and we knock the top down to get it under control. So next thing we want to do is we want to take our clipper, we want to open it up with no guard, and we want to begin to make our next guideline, and we want to take it up midway from where we made our first guideline, right? So here's like almost an inch, right around an inch, because he wanted a high ball fade, right? So our second guideline is going to be a little higher than we would normally do it. Like normally you probably would do half an inch, and you would probably drop the first guideline a little lower if you were doing like a drop fade or something like a mid fade, right? Then after that, you want to come back with your 1.5. I got my 1.5 guard. Now on this haircut, the last 3 or 4 haircuts, I have not used a 1 guard at all on either of those tutorials, and I'm not going to use one here either, right? Once you get to realizing that you can skip a guard in certain places on a lot of haircuts, it'll speed your haircuts up, right? You're just taking out an extra step. Me using the 1 guard probably would have took me an extra 10 minutes, right, to do a haircut. But we use our 1.5 and we go against the grain. And with this type of hair, you want to make sure you go over it a few times just to make sure you got everything laying the right way. And then next we're going to take our half guard and we're going to clean up the rest of where we made our second guideline. We just want to clean it up. So remember, on this texture of hair, you probably, and we have the lever open here, and what you want to remember on this texture hair, you might have to go over it a few times just to get it smooth. Make sure you use the corner of the blade and everything should fall in place. After you're done with your half guard, you want to come with no guard close. You want to try to remove this bottom line right here, and it should kind of go away easily because we use this tool to make the guideline. And if it doesn't remove that bottom guideline the way you want to, then you can come back with your trimmer and finish the cleanup on removing the line, and it should go away easily. Now, once we get that done, we just want to take our 3 guard. You see where it's like a little bulk right here because of the wave pattern, the way that the waves go. So you can kind of use clip over comb, or you can use a guard right here. I chose to use a bigger guard than what we used on top. We used a 2 guard on top. So a good way to measure it and see how the hair will respond to it is to use a bigger guard. In this case, I end up using a 3, and it actually worked out well. So if you're unsure about certain, the texture or the bulk areas, you want to use a bigger guard in order to make it right. And then, like I said, after that, if you're not happy with where you made the first guideline, if it's removed or not, you can always come back with your trimmer, use the corner of the blade there too, pick your spots and clean up that bottom line. And you see we got a clean fade right here. So these are the steps that you use on both sides and on the back of the head in order to get the look that you're trying to achieve. Now on this side, we take the exact same steps that we took on the other side is what I was trying to tell you. So let's go over those steps again because I'm gonna fast forward it. Well, I'm gonna speed the video up and go straight into the lineup. So what we want to do is use no guard on our clipper. We want to go up about an inch or halfway from what we made our first guideline. Then we want to come back with our 1.5 guard, clean it up, come back with our half guard, clean that up also, and then come back with no guard, open the close until we remove the bottom line. If we still have buck on the top that doesn't look right, we come back with our 3 guard and clean that up, and everything should fall into place. And then this side should be exact to the other side. Okay, and right here, this was kind of tricky too. So we want to use our 3 guard and go against the grain. We want to use a bigger guard than what we use on top to try to control it. And I'm doing very light strokes here because I want everything to still look consistent, right? But I want to be able to see where I need to put this line up in, right? So he didn't want it hanging over. He asked me to cut it down in the front, and that's what we're doing. So we still gonna be able to get a crispy lineup on this, right? I'm not sure that I don't think I even used enhancements on this haircut. So when you see this lineup, you're gonna be like, wow, you know what I mean? Because I didn't use enhancements as far as I know, right? But I did use my detailing mix, right? The detailing mix always assists me in creating sharp lineups, and the best example that you're gonna get is right here. You'll be able to see how I really use the detailing mix to create a sharp lineup without using hair fiber also behind the detailing mix. Okay, so now once we let it dry, the detailing mix dry, we want to come and do the vertical bars. We're gonna do the vertical bars. This is where they had them. This is where it goes, right? So for me, let me show you. So this is where you can still create a sharp lineup without pushing them back. You see, we did not push them back. You can tell where they pushed the block back. That's what I'm gonna start calling it, pushing the block back, pushing back a block, right? And also when I did his vertical bar on the side, I saw a little bit where I could clean it up, so I did that too. Then we turn them around to the other side. We do the exact same thing. We want to make our vertical bar on this side also. So you just want to line it up, kind of just make the line natural as possible, right? And you can see what I'm doing, I'm pulling outwards. So I just wanted you all to be able to see that. So you make the guideline and do it that way, right? And now we have a sharp lineup, right? It's still crispy, right? It's not as full on the sides, but it's still crispy, right? We still got that crispy lineup. Okay, so after that, we want to see, you see the vertical bars, we got that side that's a little lower, this side is a little higher, whatever. So we just kind of want to start from, pick a side to kind of start from and go to the middle. That's kind of like how I do all my lineups. But yeah, so find a side to kind of start on and then kind of decide to work your way over. Now, you want to be able to use the mirror and to help assist you in making a straight line up. That's one way I make a straight line up also, right? So sometimes it may appear when I'm first starting off doing it that it may be a little bit off. That's because I haven't had a chance to use the mirror. When you're using your own judgment or your own eyesight, sometimes you might think that it looks straight, especially when you're up on a haircut a lot. You have to step back sometimes in order to see exactly, how the lineup is coming out. So you always want to take your time when doing the lineup. Use the mirror, check the angle, make sure everything is correct, right? And sometimes you can do a lineup and it comes out perfect, easier right away, you know what I mean? And then sometimes you have to work at it to make it straight. In this situation, I kind of worked at it a little bit to get it straight, but once I got it there, I got it straight and I got a crispy lineup out of it. And sometimes you might have to go on the other side of the haircut and work the haircut that way. It's all types of things you can do in order to ensure that you get a good lineup, right? So the thing that you want to do is make sure you use your mirror. You want to make sure you take your time, look at it from different angles, make sure everything is everything, right? In order to get the straight lineup. So that's what I did. This is how we achieved the crispy look that we got right here. You know what I mean? So how y'all like the haircut, man? This is the bald fade. We did it. It was tough. It was rough. The block was pushed back, but we brought the block back. You heard me? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, This is the haircut. This is a bald fade. We're gonna take the top down a little bit. We're just gonna trim it. Make sure. Sometimes when I'm looking in the mirror, if I see something off like I just did, I use my finger to go to the edge of it to see what part it is that looks a little off in the mirror. And once you correct that, everything's good. But anyway, that's the video for today. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. You know how we do it. Until next time, love, peace, and hair grease. I'm out.